You're on, Jake.
I didn't know we were starting with me, but all right. Welcome to Kansas Speedway. It's the finale of the iRacing Stock Car Association. We get set to go here for the Kansas 200 from Kansas Speedway.
And Jake, from last week's non-show of Brian Johnson, that puts Rabbiati solid in the points championship with Brian in second. The battle seems to be third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. I mean, we have a 1 point difference between second or third and fourth, and that's with Tommy Amos and Kenny Powell. Right now, Tommy's got third, and Kenny's hunting for it by 1 point.
Yeah, so Brian Johnson pretty much made his bed for the championship by not showing up last week at Charlotte. It pretty much gifted Rabbiati the championship. But that battle for third between Kenny and Tommy Amos should be something to watch, and I think it'll be pretty interesting since Tommy and Kenny are running close to identical lap times. They're the last two guys that qualified and set a time. But I think it'll be interesting to see how they're able to run through the race. It's a long race. We'll see what they can do to try and hang on to their spots in the points, because out of both of them, their worst race, I believe, is the same position. So it really comes down to the night.
Yeah, it's going to be a who can avoid the big one. And I don't know if anybody gifted Rabbiati anything. He's been performing exceptionally well the last 3, 4, 5 races. However, tonight, this is Rabbiati's very first time on this track in a Cup car, as you can see by the qualifying speeds.
Yeah, I think this is the first time, at least since I've been here, that Rabbiati isn't on the pole or extremely fast. Jay Felton wound up on the pole with a 29.362. Then Mike Eames in second with a 29.392. Brian Johnson third and with a 29.409. Then Rabbiati, your champion, in fourth with a 29.424. Chris Johnson in fifth, 29.481. Andrew Melvin sixth, 29.520. Tyler Pluff seventh with a 29.567. Tommy Amos eighth with a 29.671. Kenny Powell ninth with a 29.753, and nobody else set a time in qualifying.
Yeah, nobody wanted to qualify. They wanted to just let it sit where it sits. So the starting grid as we start is going to be in the 10th position, Chris Severa in the 01, and in the 511 outside of him, and the Marty Walter. He's in the 11. Then we have Stephen West in the 74. And we're going green this time.
Hey, yeah, we're already off and rolling, so pretty slow start, and here comes Rabbiati right up the middle as they go for turn number one. It's not going to take them long to get to the front here.
Well, Jake, with us in the booth tonight with us is Clayton Goins. He's going to be commenting on a few of the happenings during this race. Are you with us, Clayton?
Yes, sir. I'm here. How you guys doing?
We're getting ready to see hopefully a caution-free race. As we can see, Rabbiati's never been on this track before, and he just so happens to take a lead.
He's going to lead first lap.
So I don't know. It must have been a lot of practicing going on. Oh, it looks like Felton got really loose coming out of that turn right there.
Got a car in the wall behind him, at least bouncing off. Trying to find who that was. Tyler Pluff got up and into the wall turn one. Everybody able to keep it going, though.
It's not too hard to do here, Jake. At the first few laps, 2 or 3 laps, this cars are really squirrely. I mean, it doesn't matter what setup you put underneath it. If you put a nice tight setup to take away that squirreliness, it's going to get even tighter as the laps go on. So you want to start out with a loose one.
Got a nice little battle here. Turn 2, Kenny Powell and Mike Eames coming off turn 2. Battling for the 6th spot. It's another position for Powell is Tommy Amos. He sits up in the 4th spot right now. He really got ahead on that start.
Yeah, that's a good jump. But as I said, these cars get pretty tight pretty fast. So getting up there and eating up your tires to get up far as you can is not really a good way to do this. I mean, you want to take your time, and I have a funny feeling that's what Mike Eames is doing there in that number 3 car. He gave up his position because he's going to get it back. He's going to let these guys use up their material and come back up to the field.
Speaking of saving tires, here are a couple of guys that aren't. It's the leaders. Brian Johnson motors by Rabbiati. Took him about a lap to make the pass. Now here comes Chris Johnson trying to make it 3 wide. Pushes Adi up the racetrack in the tri-oval part of the course, and now he's on his inside in turn 2.
Yeah, that's the Johnson brothers there. They're going to try to gang up on Robbie to show him you ain't winning tonight. I guarantee you that. But sitting back there in the catbird seat is that 28 of Tommy Amos in that Texaco. He's waiting patiently for one of these guys to make a mistake with a fender bumper situation, so he can take the lead, because he looks like he's got a pretty fast hot rod.
It certainly won't be impossible, as here comes Adi inside for the lead. It'll be side by side down the back straightaway. Barely has enough room to squeeze in line, but here comes Chris Johnson now back to the bottom.
Yeah, Brian is I think he's using his material up. We're going to see something here. One of them is going to get really
big crash behind him. Awful crash behind. One car got turned into the wall off turn 4. Marty Walter in the 511. He came up, I think, off somebody's nose coming off turn 4 and flew to the moon after that contact. Winds up in the infield grass. He turned across the nose.
That'd be Michael Eames, then.
Mike Eames, yeah, just turned right across his nose, hard hit into the outside wall for Eames. And a big crash to start this one. Only 2 cars, but
let's watch the replay on that and see what it looks like here. It does look like Mike Eames just came down a little bit, and boy, Marty Walter took a real whoopie-doo in the air there. Some cars went underneath him, I do believe.
Field waiting for the pace car. Meanwhile, Rabbiati, pretty much the only one of the lead lap cars to come onto pit road. Eames is on pit road, as well as Tyler Pluff and some of the cars at the back. Curtis Valenzuela, there we go. And Donnie Gatton Jr. come onto pit road. Everybody else decides to stay out. Only completed 6 laps under green.
If you can watch a replay and watch how Curtis in a 36 car just drives completely underneath of Marty Walter, well, Marty does a couple little roundabout flips in the air. That was pretty impressive, and that must have been a great view for him. Well, I think that's going to finish Marty's race.
Certainly close to it.
Yeah, he has brought that to the garage, and so has, I think he's the only one that took it to the garage. And let's see if Michael Eames has gotten any damage. He's in pit road right now, and he must have some damage from that.
Yeah, he's got a decent amount of front end damage and some right side damage from hitting the wall. Yeah. Front end of his car is pretty toast. After the
he has no front end.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he has no front end. What's holding that hood down is going to be some of that Teflon tape. That Monster Gorilla Glue is going to be on there.
And Tommy Amos is going to come onto pit road. He was running up at the front and decided to stay out. Now he's on pit road. Another car back on pit road. That's Corey Walters, his first time on the pit lane. So we're seeing a little bit of...
This is a smart move on Tommy's part, because he's got, 6-7 laps of hard racing on those tires, and they get better after about lap 6, 7, 8, 9. However, they get tighter, and they just keep getting tighter and tighter. So he's getting some fresh rubber underneath that, and if the other guys stay out, this is going to benefit Tommy greatly.
So we're under caution for the first time here at the Kansas 200, the season finale for the iRacing Stock Car Association. Field on the backstretch. I believe we'll get the one to green this time. At least I hope so, after a lap 7 crash involving Marty Walter, who is retired from the event, and Mike Eames, who, taking a quick look at the points, he, well, I thought he was up towards the top, but looks like I'm wrong.
He's been a great performer week after week. He's just not a very good finisher.
Tonight being his 5th start, he was 24th in points. So not a great night for him. Meanwhile, for Marty Walter, this his 8th start. He sits 15th in points right now. I don't think there's really anybody around him that could leap him from that position. But
well, we're watching. We've just got 8 laps, 10 laps into this, and I want to call my favorite of the race and who I'm going to pick to win this thing. I am going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Craig Johnson in the 83 is my pick to win.
So the third of the Johnsons, not the two that are on the
not the two that are on here.
We're gonna go with
I've been watching that Craig Johnson in the 83, and I think he's keeping it. He's keeping it more under control than some of the other drivers. He's being more patient. I think that's going to pay off for him in the long run.
We'll have to see here. Mike Eames is still out on the racetrack. He just came off pit road. He is somehow still on the lead lap.
Let's go back and look at the back of this field. There's a driver in here, Donnie Gatton Jr. I've watched Donnie race before, and he's a dark horse. So he may be running the back of this and figuring I got a lot of laps to let everybody use their stuff up and tear it up. So I'm going to use the mulligan, and I'm going to shoot for Donnie Gatton. I didn't realize Donnie was in this race.
Well, here we go. Green flag back in the air. Restart on lap 11, so 10 laps in the books. Only 124 more to go, and Brian Johnson is gone into turn 1.
Yeah, that good lap or lead lap there is not going to help him. They're going to catch up to him as soon as his material gets used up real fast. This track loves to eat up the rubber off those tires.
Chris Johnson on the inside. Now here comes Kenny Powell underneath Jay Felton for the 3rd spot. Looks like he'll be able to take it, and he will battle for 5th between Stephen West on the outside, Andrew Melvin on the inside. They're able to straighten it out, everybody single file from 7th to the front, and now here comes Rabbiati slicing his way through, already up into 7th, now taking 6th away from Melvin.
Clayton, what do you think of the racing we got so far?
It's been all right. I've enjoyed watching it so far, listening to you guys. Just trying to get back in the saddle here. Kenny Powell takes 2nd away from Chris Johnson. What a move that was. He powered by him.
He made a nice little move off turn 4, was able to get to the apron, get the run, and be able to just drive by him going into turn number 1. So Chris Johnson now has Stephen West and Jay Felton back behind him, closing in on that spot. And Kenny Powell looks to be pressuring for the lead. Here he comes off turn 4.
I'm going to watch the back of the field because I want to watch this number 9 car as it comes to the field. I have a funny feeling. He's, like I said, he's a dark horse. He's a sleeper, and he's just picking them off one by one. So I'll watch the back. You guys catch the front for me.
Jacob,
new leader, Kenny Powell.
And Jake, we got Al's pick of the race. Who's your pick of the race? And there's the battle for the lead once again.
Tell you what, these guys are going back and forth. I'm still thinking that this is Rabbiati's race to lose right now. He's been fast pretty much everywhere we've gone this season. He's the champion. He's been pretty fast here, too. He's already back up into the 5th spot right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get away with this one, especially if we get a couple of long runs here.
Because he's got nothing to lose. You think he's going to race differently than he has in the past?
I'm gonna split my decision, Jake, here. I'm gonna go 50-50. I'm gonna stay 50% with what's worked, which would be Rabbiati, but Kenny Powell's been really fast here this week, so I'm gonna take 50% of him because it's a toss-up.
Oh, and Kenny's doing pretty well, still fighting for the lead with Brian Johnson off turn 2, still side-by-side up front. Kenny just can't quite clear him coming up off of 2. He's gonna try and send it here into 3 and 4 and get that run. He's able to clear him easily, and that's going to allow Chris Johnson to get to the bumper of Brian Johnson off turn 4.
Guys, I don't want to toot my own horn, but Donnie Gatton Jr. in that 9 looks like he is on rails, and he is coming. He's already moved himself up into 11th, and he started this race out in 16th.
Not too bad. We saw him pit on that stretch of pit stops under the first caution, but Kenny Powell's pulled away by a couple of car lengths now over Johnson. This is the biggest gap we've seen him have so far this afternoon, and So far, it's working for him. He's able to stay ahead by about 2 car lengths at the line.
They're staying pretty nose to tail throughout this whole field. I mean, and if it stays this way, it's probably going to be a lot of green flag racing.
One thing that you mentioned, you talked about tires being a factor. The only guy in the top 8 right now that pitted under that last caution was Robbie Oddie. I said top 9 originally because Donnie Gatton Jr., well, he was sitting in 10th, but he just passed Craig Johnson, so he moved up into the 9th spot as we still got a battle up front. Brian Johnson able to take the lead back.
Yeah, I am very comfortable with my guess here with Mr. Donnie Gatton, and that number 9 is going to get up there, and he's going to show these guys what it's all about, because he had just moved into the 8th position, and he's not done.
He's looking pretty good, still battling for the lead up front between Powell and the Johnsons. Brian Johnson able to clear Powell going into turn number 1. Powell trying to fight back on the bottom. Don't think he's going to quite be able to get there, and it might be better for him just to pull in line, but looks like Chris Johnson just can't get to his outside.
It's like Robbie Oddie dives deep in this one. Deep, he's going to get a twofer on this one. Look at him. He is going.
Certainly going to try. That outside line has just a better run coming up off the corners than the bottom side, so the outside line does prevail for now. But I don't think it'll be very long until we see Robbie Oddie get up in front of these guys, as now he's got to fend off from Stephen West and Jay Felton right on his back bumper coming up off the corner.
Oh, they got squirrely. And here comes the inside. 3 wide. Donnie Gatton to the low side in the number 9. And is he going to get this position? He's right behind Robbie. He's going to push Robbie, and there he is, taking, was that 6th or 7th?
And Stephen West saw that they were 3 wide and thought better of it and got the heck out of there and pulled up behind both of those. He figured it wasn't worth it at this point. Jay Felton able to get by Robbie Oddie. Melvin gets passed by Donnie Gatton Jr., and now he's getting now he's applying some pressure onto Robbie Oddie for that 5th spot.
It seems like the bottom line is working for these guys, but it's not going to work for long. That's where you use up your most tires. Mm-hmm. So if my pick, Robbie's going to make it, he's got to get off that bottom line somehow.
Brian Johnson is gone. He's got almost a half-second lead over Kenny Powell in 2nd. Here comes Gatton Jr. back again on the bottom. Can't quite clear Robbie Oddie, but he's pretty close. Al, why don't you take us through the top 5 here pretty quickly?
We have Brian Johnson in the lead right now. He's in the number 4. Kenny Powell is in 2nd. He is in the 24. 99 is the Chris Johnson. The 7 is Jay Felton. And then we have, I believe it's Donnie Gatton Jr. And Donnie's coming up, and he wants 4th. He's fighting with Jay Felton. It looks like he's on the inside of Jay Felton. He might get a twofer on this one. He may get 3rd out of this. No, he ends up with 4th. So he has, in 9 laps, he has came up from 16th to 5th. No, he's 4th.
He's been flying, and here he goes now. Underneath Powell.
He's telling these guys, look, you guys got to get out of my way because I've got a leader to catch. That's what Donnie's telling him right now.
Now they're 3 wide for that 3rd spot. Felton able to get a run on the outside with Robbie Oddie just shoving him down the front straightaway. Donnie Gatton Jr. has slid himself into 3rd spot, and he now is the fastest guy on the newer tires. Second in that is Robbie Oddie, who's all the way back in 6th. Then you'd have to look back at Tyler Pluff in the 9th spot.
Well, if I could pick race horses like I can do this driver right here, and my driver wins, I would be a very happy person. Because it looks like Donnie is he's taking his time. And he's going to get Chris Johnson here. It's going to be not even 3 laps, and he'll have that 2nd position and have Brian in his radar.
Brian has a 2nd lead over Chris Johnson, just about a 2nd at least. So we are 25 laps into this thing, coming to complete lap 26.
We only have a select few drivers that are on fresh tires at this from that last caution.
Yep. We also have to remember too that
can help.
We have to remember that it's limited tires here. They only get 4 sets. One of them being the set that they start on, so they only have 3 pit stops where they can change all 4 tires. It'll be interesting to see how these guys work out that strategy, especially if we do see more cautions. But so far, knock on wood, it doesn't look like we're going to see that many more the way these guys are racing. Battle going on for the 5th spot between Kenny Powell and Robbie Oddie. They are all over each other. Behind them, Andrew Melvin almost hits the wall. When you run the outside here, you want to run the outside, but you don't want to run too close to that outside wall because then it'll suck you in and keep you there for a while.
Look, we have Brian Johnson is about 0.8 of a second in front of Chris Johnson, and only 1 second is Donnie Gatton Jr. behind the leader.
But Gatton has brought Jay Felton along with him. Felton's been running that outside line, and he has been getting awfully close to the back bumper of that number 9 Hooters machine the last couple of laps. So it'll be interesting to see if he can come up there and try and spoil the bunch here.
Donnie might want to change his line right there because it does look like Felton is getting a great run off the top line. He is really getting some groove up there.
How about Brian Johnson here? He is a man on a mission, guys. He is just a bull.
Yeah, Clayton, I agree, but his lead is falling. It's falling a 10th every lap, so he won't be leading for long.
Yeah, the tire wear is starting to show, but Felton and Chris Johnson, both of them are on the same lap-old tires than Brian Johnson, our leader, is on. Donnie Gatton is the only one that is on newer tires in the top 3. The second in the top 5 is Robbie Oddie. But here we go for second.
Donnie Gatton is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's patiently, methodically taking and picking his grooves. He's putting a lot of pressure on Chris Johnson in that number 99. He's going to let him make a mistake. He's not going to burn his material up just to get that second position. He's going to make Chris make a mistake because Chris is driving out of his rearview mirror right now.
Well, there goes Gatton. You talked about it. He needs to get up off the bottom. Well, there he was running the middle line. That's at least closer to the top of the track. That or Johnson's just taking his line away for fun. But Gatton Jr. is certainly getting rather close to that bumper. Car in the wall behind him, Andrew Melvin. He got into the wall battling with Kenny Powell coming off turn 4. And looks like Melvin's going to lose that spot and possibly one more to Stephen West.
Looks like Donnie Gatton's on the inside, and he got a little squirrely on that, so he might want to back it down just a little bit and keep the pressure on like he was doing. But he's not listening. He's going to try to go to the inside again, and they're going to battle.
Yeah, he's certainly close right there on the inside. He's on just about 10-lap fresher tires. Johnson gets the run up off the high side and is able to clear him back at the start-finish line, though.
And the 7 of Jay Felton, he's just biding his time watching these two battle, and he's running up on them, and he may catch them.
Yeah, like I said, this is a patience race. It's going to really show who's got patience and who really just thinks they've got a hot ride and they want to get to the front. You know, we are only on lap 35. We still have almost 100 laps left of this race, and we're going to have some green flag pit stops, roughly about 57, 58, 59 laps. So we've got about 25 more laps in this thing, and we're going to see some green flag pit stops. And this is a really hard track to get on pit road.
Yeah, but most tracks it's not easy, but this one certainly can be tricky for drivers. So it looks like Chris Johnson's able to pull away from Donnie Gatton Jr. here just a bit. Jay Felton still looming some pressure on the back bumper of that number 9. And it looks like Kenny Powell has caught Robbie Oddie for that 5th spot. So Robbie Oddie was able to blow by him, but Powell's right back on him.
I think what we've seen with Donnie Gatton is I think he just calmed it down a little bit to cool them tires down. He's probably got a handful. Let's go in-car camera with Donnie Gatton Jr. and see what he's doing with that wheel. Well, he's smooth. He's telling him he's not really jerking back and forth here, so he's not seesawing at all, but he is going to take this position.
Maybe.
You hear those tires just screaming, so he's abusing them.
Johnson's still on that outside. Johnson got a little bit of a better run. Gatton's still there going into 3. Felton just lurking behind, waiting.
This is where you push up. Coming off of this turn right here, you can push up. If you're the low line and you got a car on your high side, you can push up right into it. I mean, this is not a position to be for either one of these guys. Side-by-side racing is not going to make their race end well if they keep it up.
And it's allowed Brian Johnson to pull away by just under a second. The gap now a second and a half, just short of it. As Donnie Gatton Jr. able to clear for second, but Chris Johnson's pulling a crossover into 3.
Yeah, he wants him at the high line, which if Donnie's not used to running that high line, that's a tricky one because that wall gets closer every time you go around a corner.
So that's James Felton. On the top, gets by Chris Johnson.
And there is a 1.5 lead between Brian Johnson in the lead in that number 4 and Donnie Gatton Jr. in the number 9. And he is not closing it in. He is really just watching and listening to his tires. He is abusing them tires, and that's not going to help him because now the tables have turned. Jay Felton has got Donnie Gatton Jr. watching that rear view mirror now.
Kenny Powell has gotten by Rabbiati for that 5th spot. Meanwhile, battle for second. Here comes Jay Felton around the outside of Donnie Gatton Jr. Gonna try and make it work. See what happens here down the back. And it looks like Felton's going to get the better run. Gatton got loose and he lost time. New second place.
He's them tires up, and it's going to cost him. I mean, he's going to have to get down pit road here because he's going to have a handful. He's going to go from 2nd to 16th in 10 laps because these guys are going to walk right through him.
Chris Johnson takes 3rd away, and here comes Kenny Powell now on the outside of Donnie Gatton Jr. So Donnie Gatton Jr. pitted. He's on 10-lap fresher tires. And all of a sudden, the handling on that car is not as good as it was 10 laps ago. And he's been pushing it and maybe a little too far.
When you abuse them tires trying to get up there as fast as he has, that's only going to be problems because now you've equalized the tires for everybody. And we've got the patriotic pirate there, the 24th Kenny Powell. He is fighting down again. He wants to get to the 4th position.
Impressive night for Kenny Powell. He is 3rd in the points. Tommy Amos right now sits 13th on the racetrack with Powell in 4th. So it certainly looks good for Powell to hang on to that 3rd spot in the points.
If you can see the biggest movers here, they're all running that high line. They're all up on that high line. You don't use as much rubber on that high line, so you're not turning that wheel as much. So you can last a lot longer on those tires. We've watched Donnie run that low line, and I don't care what setup you got, you just can't run that low line.
Here comes Robbie Hottie on the outside of Donnie Gatton Jr. as he got loose again, coming off 2 and had to do a little invisible chicane action there. Able to get the car going in the right direction, but Robbie Hottie back into the top 5.
And Brian Johnson, he's checked out. He is almost 2 seconds in front of Jay Felton.
Cruise control right now.
Yeah, he's just got to keep that wheel and not seesawing, and he won't eat up those front tires. So those front tires here are more important than the rears. That's where a lot of your grip is going to come from.
Battle for 3rd, heating up between Chris Johnson and Kenny Powell. Powell all over the back of him down the backstretch. Now to back off for the corner. Robbie Hottie looming in the background.
Let's go in car with Kenny Powell and see how Kenny Powell's using his material. He's backing off the field. He's coming out of 3 and 4. He's just backing it off, and he's going to got a little shooting going on with them tires, but he guides it right up to that wall.
Hitter Donnie Gatton Jr. So Donnie Gatton Jr. pitted under that first caution, had 10-lap fresher tires, and he is the first one of the lead lap cars to come onto pit road for what would be green flag stops about 10 laps earlier than you were thinking there, Al.
I'm kind of thinking he's got something that, to me, is very smart.
Another one coming onto pit road, that's Stephen West in the 74. He stayed out under that caution. No other takers onto pit road yet. As I'm sure now that these guys know that you've got people pitting, you're gonna see some folks make the hard left turn onto pit road as Jay Felton closed the gap a little bit. It's down to about a second and a half.
Oh, Kenny Powell, he's getting really close to that wall. He really struggled with that steering wheel that time by. There we go. Let's make a rundown, Clayton, of the top 5. Can you do that for us?
We got Brian Johnson in the number 4 machine, Jay Felton in the number 7, got Chris Johnson in the 99, got Kenny Powell in the 24, and Robbie Oddie is 44 in the 5th position.
Looks like we're probably going to see some pitters coming up here. I think they're going to have
another one. Corey Walters. He'll pit from the 7th position. He also stayed out under that last caution. So this is his first.
They're going to start pitting because these guys, they realize quick that if you're that far back, what do you have to lose? I mean, you stand a chance to let those guys up front on not so fresh tires beat themselves up, and maybe they'll catch a wall.
Curtis Valenzuela, he's on pit road. Big battle heating up for 5th between Robbie Oddie, make that 4th, between Robbie Oddie and Kenny Powell. Oddie is all over the back bumper of that 24 car.
Coming off pit road now would be Donnie Gatton Jr., and he is just one lap down. He joins the one lap down club of Paul Olson in the 43, Curtis Valenzuela in the 36, Stephen West in the 74, and Tommy Amos. Those are all one lap or more down. Now, Tommy Amos, he must have had a little issue because he is 2 laps down.
Yeah. And but Mike is unofficially out of the race. He's parked it at this point. 33 laps down. He's been sitting in his pit box for quite some time. So,
yeah, I think he's just going to be here for the after-hours celebration.
Yep.
Now let's watch and see how fast these fresh tires will get these guys up in there.
By the way, Robbie Oddie did take 4th.
Oh, we almost had a wreck there with the 96 of Jeffrey Smith. He almost took Donnie Gatton out. He was trying to get on pit road, and his rear end got a little squirrely.
That was close. The gap under a second between the top 2 cars. Jay Felton has closed it big time. The top 5, top 6. Make that top 7 continue to stay out. And it looks like Jeffrey Smith is going to stay out another lap now as he's running the outside line through 3 and 4, and he will stay out another lap.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. He got a little loose. If it was me, I would have came in, but he did not do it. So our Donnie Gatton Jr. is the first one that's a lap down, and he is 18 seconds behind the leader. So he just has to make up 18 seconds to get around that leader. He's back on the lead lap, which would, at that moment, when the leaders pit, it would put him in the lead and them a lap down. It would switch the positions here.
And everybody on track is now 1 lap down as Valenzuela is able to unlap himself from Johnson, making him only 1 lap down instead of 2. And I'm sure we'll see some of those drivers get back on the lead lap once the leaders pit, whenever that happens.
Well, I'm watching the 96 car of Jeffrey Smith. He's in the 8th position right now, lap after lap, and that car is uncontrollably loose. He is having to lift quite a bit to get that car seated in the front end. Otherwise, it's pushing right to the wall, and he is still managing to almost catch the wall.
He's still staying out there, so interesting call. And Paul Olson from the 10th spot, he's on pit road. That'll be Olson's first stop. And everybody else staying on the racetrack.
Donnie Gatton has moved himself 8 seconds now. He's still 22 seconds. I'm sorry. He's gaining about 3 seconds every lap here on the leaders.
Blown by Andrew Melvin is now trying to chase down Kenny Powell and Robbie Oddie to get by them and get close to the leader, but under half a second is the gap between Brian Johnson and Jay Felton. And it won't be very long until these guys have to come onto pit road because of fuel. They're at the edge of their window here.
Yeah, they don't have a hybrid like Robbie Oddie, who has been driving in the past 6-7 races. So, did you see how these fresh tires? Let's watch Donnie Gatton here. He just, breezes right by everybody. It's just amazing. So he is about not too long from now. He will be back on the lead lap because he just came past
Kenny Powell on pit road
in reverse.
Yep, he's coming to pit road. So the first one out of the top 5 to pit. Brian Johnson was slow up on the high side in 3 and 4, but got it going. But Jay Felton is in his tire tracks now. First time we've seen that since the restart.
Well, I imagine those tires they got are like Jello right now.
Yeah.
It's just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle,
Both of them staying out. Chris Johnson will stay out. Robbie Oddie couldn't pit if he wanted to because he had Donnie Gatton on his inside.
Yeah, he's
trying to
up there.
Andrew Melvin comes onto pit road, though. Craig Johnson will stay out and will take that 5th position away.
The 7th place car, the 96 of Smith, is really fighting a loose race car as he almost loses down on the front straightaway.
Donnie's got 2 cars in front of him that he has to get by, and he's got them in his radar. That's 4 of Brian Johnson and the 7 of Jay Felton. That's first and second. Once he does this, he will be back on the lead lap. And it
Craig
looks
Johnson onto pit road. Same with Jeffrey Smith. So
like Jay Felton just took the lead from Brian Johnson.
It's the top 3 that have yet to pit. Top 4 still need to pit eventually. And here comes Brian Johnson onto pit road. Same with Chris Johnson. Robbie Oddie will be able to stay out a little bit longer than everybody else. So Robbie takes second. Jay Felton will stay out for an extra lap. We'll see how much that hurts him compared to everybody else with those new tires.
I don't know how that's going to help him. I don't know why he would make that decision. He may not have been able to slow down enough to safely make his pit stop.
Here he comes.
See him. Here he comes. Yeah, he's got to way slow down.
So new leader, surprise, Robbie Oddie, the champion of this second season. And he will take the lead officially, I think, for the first time this race.
Yeah, he almost took the lead when the race started.
Mm-hmm. So Tyler Pluff also needs to pit. He pitted under that first caution. He's on the same amount of tire wear as Robbie Oddie. Tyler Pluff almost 14 seconds back. He takes second away. Jay Felton right now still sitting in the 3rd spot. We'll wait for scoring to refresh. Donnie Gatton now moves into 3rd. And the top 3 are on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's all we have. I'm showing the top 4, but as Jay Felton's in pit road, he will probably go a lap down this time by.
So it's Robbie Oddie, Tyler Pluff, Donnie Gatton Jr. Those are the 3 on the lead lap right now. And it looks like Robbie Oddie's pitting this time. So he only stays out a couple more laps compared to everybody else, even on those almost 10-lap fresher tires. Looking for...
They can't make it to the end here, Jake. They can't make it to the end, so I don't know what the decision is.
Tyler Pluff got stuck by some lap traffic. He has to go around another lap, so he takes the lead for now. And I would look for either Donnie Gatton Jr. or Stephen West to come out in front with the lead, as this has completely shuffled everybody about. You've got Kenny Powell in 6th, Jay Felton 7th, and the Johnsons 8th and 9th. Tyler Pluff staying on the outside line in turns 3 and 4. He's going to stay out another lap. So Tyler Pluff will remain the leader. Second place, Donnie Gatton Jr., wherever he is, he's in turn 3 right now.
Yeah,
Rabiotti exits the pits down the back straight.
Rabiotti falls to 7th, out in front of Brian and Chris Johnson, but behind Jay Felton and Kenny Powell as now Robbie gets passed by Brian Johnson, who's been out there for a couple more laps. Tyler Pluff staying out once again. So a little bit of strategy being seen here. So far, it looks like the earlier you pitted, the better things have worked out for you, considering you've got Corey Walters and Stephen West and Donnie Gatton Jr. in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. In the opposite direction, of course, Gatton 2nd, West 3rd, Walters 4th, then Powell in 5th, and then everybody else that pitted earlier on, or pitted later on, as the leaders. So Tyler Pluff, still out in front, still on the racetrack, will stay out another lap.
And we have between second and third, there is a comfortable 3.5 second lead between Stephen West and Corey Walters. From 3rd and 4th, there is another comfortable, almost 4-second lead difference between those guys. So they've kind of spread themselves out here. Now, The new tires always prevail, so we can look for our leaders of Kenny Powell, Brian Johnson, and Chris Johnson to keep, and Jay Felton. They're going to come back through that field at a random speed. I mean, it's going to be a pretty good race here.
Pluff has to be saving. This is his 60th lap since he's come onto pit road. I don't know how he has the fuel left in that thing to keep it going. We said the fuel window was about 58 laps. Here he is on lap 68 on his 60th lap and still going, still on the outside, and it looks like he's going to stay out for yet another lap.
Well, that's not going to help him because you get 58 laps out of this. So he cannot go to the finish with a full tank of fuel. He's going to have to make another stop. So what he's going to do, even if he wanted to do that, his tires are going to be so gummed up, he's not going to have any ability to control it, even if he has a 20-second lead. And right now he does have a comfortable 11-second lead in front of Donnie Gatton Jr.
Donnie Gatton Jr. is closing in a hurry. But I don't, unless Pluff is hoping for a caution, which I don't know if this is the right series to be banking on a caution, considering we average, I think 2 a race maybe, if we throw Martinsville out of the picture.
Well, let's not, we got to take in and watch our previous leaders here. Kenny Powell, Jay Felton, Rabiotti, and Brian Johnson. They are coming. I mean, they are moving through
Kenny
there.
Powell is moved up into 4th. He passed Corey Walters. Jay Felton 6th, Corey Walters 5th, and finally Tyler Pluff has come onto pit road. And he almost spins it. In fact, he does spin it, locks it up getting onto pit road, spins through the grass, gets it back going onto pit road. No caution, thank goodness.
That's really going to cost him there, Jake.
And Donnie Gatton Jr. takes the lead. And Stephen West is in 2nd. Not a lot of pressure out from behind him. He's got a lap car behind him. That's Paul Olson. But almost a 3-second gap between Gatton and West for the lead. Jay Felton has passed just about everybody. He's even gotten by Kenny Powell. He's now in the 3rd spot, 6 seconds behind the leader, about 3 seconds behind West. So everybody's pretty evenly spaced out, except that battle between Felton, Powell, and Rabiotti. They are all pretty much on top of each other right here at the start-finish line.
Our battle is going to be for Stephen West and Jay Felton. They've only got a 2.5-second gap between them and the leader, Donnie Gatton Jr. Mm-hmm. That will close up rather fast. So you will see, matter of fact, it's really only Stephen West because he's got a comfortable 3 seconds behind him with Jay Felton, Kenny Powell, and Rabiotti going to be fighting. But the battle behind the battle is with 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. That's where your battle is at. Those are our previous leaders, and they're going to come up.
Rabiotti passed Kenny Powell a lap ago like Powell was chained to a tree or something. He just blew right by him. It wasn't much of a battle for the spot. It was kind of a here, take it, I surrender. So Rabiotti now in fourth, trying to apply some pressure onto Jay Felton for that third spot to then hunt down the leaders. They're within 4 seconds of Donnie Gatton Jr. Everybody's closing in on him, and I think it helps the fact that Felton and Adi are on 16 lap fresher tires compared to Gatton and West.
Yeah, but if we watch what Donnie just did, okay, and we hypothetically say Donnie's going to pit again at lap 110, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to go a lap down, and those guys have to pit. That's going to put him 4 or 5 seconds in front of the leaders.
But if they're able to catch him, in that amount of time at the end, it won't really matter, and Gatton won't have a shot at the end of it anyways, because he'll get past. Stephen West gets blown by Adi and soon-to-be Jay Felton. Brian Johnson has caught and passed Kenny Powell, and now Chris Johnson's all over him. So Stephen West falls to fourth, and a 2.5-second gap for the lead remains, but Rabiotti is slowly chopping that lead down. Well, not really slowly. He's chopping it down like the Amazon rainforest right now. Just flying.
Tyler Buff is in the wall through the grass. Our former leader made a simple mistake going into pit road and spun out. He pitted, come back out. He lost 13 positions at a lap down, and he comes out and he slaps the wall. Guys, it's just rough night.
That'll explain some of the tire marks that are going through the infield grass here on the front straightaway. There are 3 sets of them. One was from him missing pit road or spinning to get onto pit road. There's another one that I'm not sure who it belongs to. And then there's the third one, which now belongs to Tyler Bluff. Corey Walters, Paul Olson, they've taken it to the garage. They are out of the race. Stephen West almost hit the wall.
We have Rabiotti. He's closing in with 1.4 seconds behind the leader of Donnie Gatton. And behind him, right on his tail, is Jay Felton. He's not only 3/10 behind Rabiotti. So these second and third are coming. Okay, if Donnie can keep it ahead of them to about lap 85, I think he stands a great chance. If he pits at lap 100, he should be able to come out without a caution messing him up. He should be able to come out and win this with this strategy.
Rabiotti's within 4 car lengths now going into turn number 3.
Yeah, Robbie caught him quick.
Yeah,
I mean, he was on him like a bunch of bees on some honey. He's gonna. I think Donnie was smart to just let him go on by. Don't use up what you got.
Sure, tires will do it to you. And Rabiotti takes the lead at a track that he hasn't run on until about an hour ago.
Yeah. But now we can't forget, right behind him is Jay Felton, and Jay Felton's going to come up and do the same thing.
And Brian Johnson is catching both of them in that 4th spot right now.
Yeah. At Castro GTX number 7 there, Jay Felton is on rails too. And he's using that high
instead, Gatton's going to slide up right in front of him, and they almost make contact up off the corner. That was close.
Felton's going to try the inside line, and Donnie is going to let him have it. Oh, he gets sideways. Yeah, he almost loses it.
Oh, man.
Yes,
Jake up the hill, and here comes Brian Johnson.
Now, the only way this can mess with Donnie Gatton's abilities is if Rabiotti gets out there 4, 5, or 6 seconds in front of him. Then it's going to put a monkey wrench in his whole plan. So he wants to let these second or the third, fourth car gets past him as fast as he can, so they can catch Rabiotti and start racing him to slow him down.
Well, Rabiotti's pulled away by almost a second already, and neither Felton or Brian Johnson can get by this 9 of Donnie Gatton Jr. right now. So it's not looking good.
And here comes Brian Johnson. He's pushing Jay Felton, and they're going to try to gang up on Donnie here. One's going to take the high side, one's going to take the low side. They're going to get him this time by.
He's certainly all over him.
Yeah.
I'm just breathing down his neck. Now he's looking to the inside. Doesn't quite have a run. He's just going to have to stay on line. Now he looks to the bottom. Gatton tried to go down and prevent him, but Felton gets by and cannot clear him. Cannot clear him, and here comes Brian Johnson up the middle.
It'll be a 3 wide.
Gatton blinks out of existence. Now he's back. Brian Johnson gains 2 spots in a straightaway.
He threads the needle right there.
Brian Johnson to second, and Felton falls to 4th. And here comes Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson to 4th. I think Jay Felton used his stuff up trying to get by the 9 of Donnie Gatton Jr.
And this is going to allow the 24 Kenny Powell to catch up a little bit here and get back in that top 5 position here. He is patiently waiting and using his tires up accordingly. You know, he's not, but he does get loose. Everybody is getting a little loose.
Trouble, turn 2. Yes. That was Kenny.
Kenny
Powell got sideways, hit the wall, was able to save it, almost hit Tommy Amos. In fact, it was Amos that blinked and put Powell into the wall.
And that's going to bring Kenny down on pit road here. No, he's not going to.
No, he's going to stay out, but his car is wounded badly. I don't think he's going to be able to continue without pitting as the battle for third continues up.
Yeah, Kenny Powell he is 40 miles an hour slower than everybody right now. He is trying to get back to pit road. Is what he didn't want to make a emergency pit that time, but I can guarantee you Kenny Powell in that 24 car is coming to pit road this time by.
Donnie Gatton has officially fallen to 4th, now to 5th. Caution's out. Crash front straightaway, it's Gatton. He got turned by Felton. Felton got up into the wall, turned the car to get it off the wall, and it slid down the racetrack and just turned the 9 of Donnie Gatton Jr. into the outside wall. That is a perfectly timed caution for a man named Kenny Powell, because that will keep him on the lead lap and allow him to get that damage repaired. Meanwhile, this changes everything in the world of fuel strategy, as Rabiotti had a 4.5-second lead last time by.
We're going to have hot crews after this one, guys.
Lap 87, if they pit here, they can make it.
Okay, the damage, it looks like the damage is not crucial on Donnie Gatton Jr.
It's not bad on Gatton.
Got a little bit of rear end damage. The Hooters, looks like they put a bigger bra on that one, and you should be all right. You know.
Yeah, it was just a small little tap to the outside wall. It wasn't bad, but the damage to Powell's car is pretty bad.
He might. He's going to take away his top 5 or possibly a win, because Kenny Powell had a fast hot rod there in that 24.
Back end of his car is beaten to heck. Front of the car isn't much better. Both left and right side fenders in on the car. He's on pit road. Most everybody pits. Well, everybody pits. That was on the lead lap. They're on it right now.
Yeah, because they can make it from here. Yeah. They can make it on this field. The tires won't be worth anything, but they can make it. So
Jeffrey Smith will get the Jeffrey Smith will get the free pass, it looks like. And Kenny Powell on my scoring is 1 lap down, and I believe that's because he came onto pit road before catching up to the field. So unless Powell won't be able to get off, so Powell is going to be 1 lap down here.
I think we're all in agreement, guys, and we're going to take a page out of Rusty Wallace's handbook. Somebody's going to get punched after this.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
But the race isn't over, right? And the race is not over. And the damage that's been put on these cars, the one that got the most damage would be Jay Felton, in my opinion, because he's going to have a little front-end damage, and that's going to take away some front downforce.
Speaking of damage, Mike Eames has finally left the building. He's packed up, gone to the motorhome, and took him a while to get out of here, but he found his way to the tunnel. Donnie Gatton Jr. has left. He's packed it up and gone home. So there goes your pick, Al. Sorry.
That's just my luck, yeah.
It was looking good earlier, not so much now.
He must have had a little bit of damage, more than it appears from the view. That he knew that he was going to be more than a hindrance than a benefit on that track. So, unfortunately, it was a good race for him. I mean, we're talking about a guy that came from the back of the field to the front of the field and staying up there.
Well, now here's something interesting. Tommy Amos has passed Kenny Powell for position because Powell is still on pit road. He's 2 laps down. Tommy Amos is literally right in front of him getting his car serviced. He's now rolling. So Tommy Amos has passed Kenny Powell. The gap is 1 point in the point standings.
But we have Tommy coming back on pit road.
Tommy's off in turn 1 off of pit road. I think this is going to put Tommy ahead of Kenny in the points. So Tommy Amos blinked, put Kenny Powell in the wall, and now Tommy Amos is most likely going to take that 3rd spot in the championship points because of it. I forgot that Tommy was even in position for that 3rd spot until just now. My goodness, that makes everything that we've just witnessed that much more important. I mean, and Powell is not on pit road anymore. Man, never mind, he is. So he's going to fall 3 laps down.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. But the race is not over. We still have 45 more laps. Well, anything can happen.
It's not over, but Tommy Amos to go into the catch fence in turn 2 or something ridiculous to give Kenny a shot here.
But we have
one lap to green.
Our Johnsons, it looks like a Johnson field up top, because right now we've got Rabiotti on the pole. We've got the number 4 of Brian Johnson, the number 99 of Chris Johnson, and the number 83 of Craig Johnson. This is the Johnson. I'm almost going to say there's at least a 25% chance that a Johnson is going to win this race.
At this point, you might be right. Look how these guys have been driving. We haven't talked much about Craig Johnson or Andrew Melvin. They're up there now. And Jay Felton has to try and get by all of them to get back up to the front.
See, originally, I had picked Craig Johnson. You remember that? And I changed over.
Yep.
So
Kenny Powell still on pit road. Rabiotti gone. Everybody else is.
I think Andrew Melvin got a good jump there too in the 37.
It's like they're waking up from a coma. Here they go into turn number 1 in through 2. Chris Johnson, rather, he's able to take over 3rd. Craig Johnson falls to 5th. Andrew Melvin in that 4th spot.
Yeah, but right behind Craig Johnson is Stephen Weston at 74. And he might follow Craig Johnson and the high line there and just stay right with him and go motoring right past Mr. Andrew Melvin in this 37th car.
No, he's going to go to the inside of Craig Johnson instead. Too many Johnsons. And he'll get by and take that spot away. But Brian Johnson, cue the Jaws music, he is reeling in Rabiotti in that 44.
Yeah, Brian didn't run last week, and that kind of put a little ripple in the points championship here. I was hoping that we'd have a Rabiotti and Brian Johnson battle this week.
Oh, they almost made contact. That was close.
Yeah,
and Brian Johnson to the lead in turn 1. What a move that was. Blows by him.
And he's going to take his cousin Chris right with him here in a matter of
That 44, he's looking to the inside, now cuts to the outside. Here's Rabiotti on top now for the lead.
He's pinching him.
Almost put him in the wall.
Yeah, he pinched him pretty good, but Robbie's going to keep it up on the top line, and he's going to get around him, I guess.
Brian Johnson sent it in, comes up, they make contact. Still rolling.
Extremely
Rabiotti for the lead. Brian Johnson falls to second, and now what can he do to try and take the lead back?
He looks like Rabiotti is going to check out. Rabiotti
coming to 12 to go.
He's got that lead in the fresh air, and he's checking out. Remind you, Rabiotti has never been on this track in a Cup car before.
Yeah, really, until about an hour or so ago, maybe 2 hours ago now.
It's amazing. It is amazing how he's an hour and a half he's been on this track, and he's 123 laps in, and he's in the lead again.
11 laps to go here at Kansas. The season finale.
I don't think we're done seeing the battle. Brian Johnson is gaining on him. He wants that lead. Yeah. He wants to win.
Trying to get that draft. I think Johnson certainly has the better straightaway speed, but Rabiotti might just be able to send it into the corners a bit better than everybody else. That might be the key difference here between these two. We'll have to see. We saw Johnson make a couple mistakes and get up into the wall while he was leading. If Adi can make one or two of those mistakes, it'll allow Johnson to close that gap in and give us a show. 10 laps to go. Brian Johnson has kept it close.
Yeah, he's got to stay on him. The only hope he's got is to stay on him and hope he makes a mistake. He's got to pressure him.
Oh,
Robbie's going to make a mistake.
Rabiotti slid up the racetrack a little bit. Here comes Johnson right to the back bumper. Outside, now inside. He's there. This is not where Johnson really wants to be. Side by side into turn one. Brian Johnson sends it in on the bottom. Rabiotti gets the better run on the high side. Johnson can't clear him. Rabiotti stays out in front. Johnson does not get a good corner exit and has to fall back in line.
He's going to pressure him again. He wants him to get on a low line. He doesn't want to be on that.
But it's going to be tough for him to get to that high side.
He had a chance
literally punching him down right away. But instead, that gave Adi a shot and got him out in front of him too far.
We've got less than 7 laps left of this race.
He's almost completely run out of time. And now Adi is starting to pull away a little bit. Johnson was able to close that gap in. We'll see if he can do it in what's left. They're coming to 7 laps to go this time by. See what they can manage. He just needs to figure out a way to get by Adi on the outside without wrecking him.
Right. Yeah, that's it's impressive with these two drivers. They want to win so bad that they're not going to wreck the other one out for the win.
It's going to have to happen coming off turn 4, going into turn 1. He's going to have to set him up coming out of 4, get a good run off
on him.
Corner.
He's closing.
He's got to get a better run off. Get to the outside of him here.
Yeah. Got to get to that high side.
Too far back. He's going to have to wait another lap.
He's going to get him squarely right here, and he'll get that high side because Robbie will go chasing it down the track.
Brian Johnson, he's there. This could be his last shot at getting it. Now doing the IndyCar snake draft again, trying to break the draft. Brian Johnson all over him again. About a car length between these two cars. Coming to 5 laps to go this time by. Brian Johnson's still not close enough.
Brian would just ride that high line instead of following him down the low line there. He would probably break his draft and get enough momentum on that high line to get past him.
And Adi is pulled away.
Brian Johnson, don't count him out yet. He is still hunting.
Coming to 4 laps to go. Rabiotti out in front trying to get his 7th win on the season. Brian Johnson lost out on the championship looking for his 2nd win on the season. He's close, but is he close enough? That's the big question right now, coming to 3 laps to go this time by.
He closed up a heck of a lot there. He really closed on him. He is going to try to go low.
The closest he's been coming here off of 4.
If he stays high, Robbie goes low.
He's high. He's just not.
He's
just
not
can't get there.
And they get really close to that wall. They almost can reach out and smack it.
Yeah. So here we go. Down the backstretch. Into turn 3. We'll have 2 laps to go at the line this time by. Can Rabiati hang on? Does Brian Johnson have anything for him? He's been all over him like a cat on Velcro for the last 10 laps. 2 laps to go here at Kansas in the ISCA finale. Just about a car length back.
Oh, Robbie pulls away. But this is where Brian gains on him. As Robbie pulls away, he gets a nice run and pulls right up to his bumper, and he'll slingshot it.
Trying to break that draft again.
He's
into
only
turn
got
3. Johnson enters a little lower. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go at Kansas. Does Brian Johnson have anything? Looks to the inside. Can't get anything there.
He is staying right on him. He's got 4 more corners to make this change here. And he has to back off. He gets squirrely. Brian Johnson gets squirrely, and that's going to pull it away from Robbie, and Robbie's going to get a good length.
Rabiati clinched the championship last week at Charlotte after Brian Johnson did not make the race.
Oh, and
extended into turn 3, Carl Edwards style. It's not going to work. Slides at the racetrack. Won't get there. Rabiati gets his 9th win on the season and wins at Kansas. I know I got that number wrong. 7th win on the season. Close enough. Rabiati's been insanely good, and he wins.
Just lose count. That was some phenomenal driving on Brian Johnson.
10th,
any of those drivers,
5.
they could have been, made a mistake and cost the other one the race. But they patiently, I just have to give kudos.
So Rabiati, Brian Johnson, then Chris Johnson in 3rd, Stephen West 4th, Jay Felton 5th, Andrew Melvin 6th, Craig Johnson 8th, Curtis Valenzuela 8th, Jeremy Smith 9th, Tyler Pluff 10th, 11th, Tommy Amos, 12th, Kenny Powell, 13th, Donnie Gatton Jr., 14th, Corey Walters, 15th, Paul Olson, 16th, Mike Eames, 17th, Marty Walter. That wraps up your field for this one here in the Kansas 200.
What a phenomenal race. What a great race. 1 caution.
Two cautions, but still they were evenly spread out. Had a couple of great green flag runs.
What a tremendous season closer. That was absolutely great.
Good way to end it.
That was absolutely a great way to end it. I mean, the racing was not, the field wasn't that far apart from each other. The racing was bumper to bumper, and it was patience. We had a great race today.
Absolutely. It's a good one to watch, too.
So now let's see how the points fall after this race and find out who was the winner of this and who was the loser of this. We have some positions, I'm sure, that are going to be changing places from the start of this race to the end of it in the points championship. I'm curious to see how Kenny Powell and Tommy Amos fare out of this, and how Chris Johnson places after his 3rd place win. And today,
with Tommy Amos 11th and Kenny Powell 12th, Johnston may have been able to slide himself into at least the 5th spot, if not the 4th spot, because it was certainly close.
Let's see if we can get a word in with Mr. Rabiati, the race winner. Rabiati, here we are again. What did you think Brian Johnson in that number 4 was battling you like that? Did you think he was going to be able to get a good run and get you? Because you look like you were seesawing that wheel pretty good.
Yeah, man. I knew what this for me. He was so much better than me in the 3, so much so. I had him in 1 and 2, but he could drive that car so deep into 3. So I just knew that I would have to back up 3 and 4, get a good run off, and beat him in 1 and 2. And I had to drive basically a perfect race once I got in front of him, and he did not make it easy. He did not make it easy.
Oh, it didn't look easy from where we're sitting, most definitely. So it was once again a phenomenal race. This one was probably my favorite out of all of them because we had somebody giving you competition there. Brian Johnson, sad that he didn't make last week's race because then we would probably be having a heck of a battle for a championship right now. But he did give you one heck of a race today.
Yeah, for sure. I just lost words right now. I'm so happy.
Well, congratulations on your championship
Thank you.
as well. Now, I think if our math is correct, we kind of stopped counting there for a little bit, but is this your 7th win for the season?
Yes, 7th.
I haven't kept track.
At least according to the point standings, it's the 7th.
It's the only thing we have to go by. I mean,
Yep.
So will you be coming back next season?
Oh,
There's 23 other drivers that want to know.
I haven't decided yet there, Al. I've had a blast this season, really fun league. I'm probably gonna sit down with Kenny later and talk it out and figure out what the plans for next season are.
Well, if you don't make the whole season, at least come back for a couple different races, because give all the other guys a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, next season, if I don't come back, you're going to have Jay Filton. He's going to be up there. You're going to have Brian Johnson. You're going to have Kyle. I think that's your big 3 right there. So, really happy.
We have a phenomenal field full of potential drivers that can win this thing. I mean, we have 23 drivers. I'm not going to point, besides the season's obvious, Rabiati, I'm not going to say that somebody is better than anybody else because we've watched some of these guys race phenomenally and not make any mistakes, and then the same guy and week after week make a mistake after mistake. So we have a bunch of great drivers that stand a chance to win, and they may practice on the off season and come back if you do decide to come back and give you one heck of a competition to next season's point championship.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I think we do have a great field of drivers that stand a chance of winning the championship with or without you. So, again, congratulations on your championship win and your 7th win for the season. And it was a tremendous, exciting race to watch. Brian Johnson and you raced clean and competitive, and it was great to see.
Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate it, Robbie. Congratulations once again.
All right. So what a way to end the race. What a way to end the season. It's been great to be here for a couple of races. And hopefully I'll be able to come back with the rest of us next season. Final thoughts here, Al, before we wrap things up.
I've enjoyed all the co-hosts that I've had this season and really would enjoy seeing everybody back. And again, like I was telling Robbie, I think we have a bunch of phenomenal drivers in the league right now. And any one of those would have won the championship if it wasn't for small mistakes or hiccups or malfunctions in their equipment. So maybe next year we'll have less of those and we'll see a tighter battle for the championship. Well, that we are off for the season, and I enjoyed it, and we will see everybody next season.
So from all of us here, Clayton Goins, Al Kozlowski, Bo Baker, and Brian Boster, I'm Jacob Hitz. So long from Kansas.